Hi there. This is my first attempt to do an online lecture. Please forgive me if it seems a little awkward or if you hear my dog barking in the background or anything else. We're going to do the best we can to make this work. You should have out pencil, paper, and a calculator. Please put this video on pause if you haven't gathered your supplies. Okay, let's get started. Okay, these are Pythagorean Theorem notes. Pythagorean Theorem starts with a right triangle. The mathematician Pythagoras found out that if you take the legs, square them, and add them up, you would always get the hypotenuse squared. The legs are your A and your B in the theorem, and your hypotenuse is the C. Now you will find that the hypotenuse is the side opposite the 90-degree angle. It's always the longest side in your right triangle. The legs are the two sides made up of the segments that connect at the right angle. The Pythagorean theorem itself says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, the legs squared add up to be the hypotenuse squared. We're going to first start out with some triangles and have their measurements and determine whether or not they are right triangles or if they're a different type of triangle like an acute or an obtuse triangle. All right, in this first triangle, we don't assume that's the right angle. We have sides of 24 and 7 and 25. The two shorter sides squared, 7 squared plus 24 squared, must equal the longer side squared. Now, you'll enter this into the calculator. 7 times 7 is 49, or 24 times 24 is 576. When you add those two together, you get 625. If it's a right triangle, it equals 25 squared, or 25 times 25. In this case, it works out. Now, if you have a calculator that shows your display, you can save a little bit of time by using your square button. The square button is usually up and to the left of the numbers. I can enter in 7 squared plus 24 squared. You can see the display is showing what I'm doing, and get the answer of 625, and then verify immediately that it's the same thing as 25 squared. So it's a few less steps if you use your calculator. If you're not caught up to me, go ahead and hit pause until you get caught up. If you're doing great, let's try another triangle with side lengths of 3.75, 4.5, and 6. This is the longest side, so our theorem, Pythagorean theorem, has to equal 6 squared if it is correct. The other sides would be added together after you square them. 3.75 squared plus 4.5 squared. Go ahead and try that. Okay, if I've gone a little bit too fast, you may go ahead and hit pause until you catch up. You can see on the calculator that I've entered this in and got an answer of 34.3125. Now 6 times 6 is 36. Those are not the same, so it is not a right triangle. Where on example 1, they were the same, so it is a right triangle. Try this one on your own. For example 3, we won't draw the picture. I'll just tell you that I have sides of 12, 16, and 20. Use the Pythagorean theorem to determine yes or no, is this a right triangle? Again, please hit pause if you have not completed it. You should be checking to see if 12 squared plus 16 squared equals 20 squared. When I enter that in the calculator, I get 400. I do know that 20 times 20 is also 400, so yes, it is a right triangle. Part of your assignment is going to be simple yes/no answers like these. The next group of problems are going to be asking you to find the missing side. Many of them will come out even. If they do not, round to the nearest tenth. For example 4, you have a right triangle. I already know it's a right triangle. Remember, the little box shape here indicates that that's the 90-degree angle. I'm not giving you the hypotenuse. That's what you're going to be looking for. The other sides are 8 and 15. So you're going to say that 8 squared plus 15 squared equals the hypotenuse squared, which is what's missing. This is 64 plus 225. Or, of course, remember, you can do 8 squared plus 15 squared into your calculator and get an answer of 289. Now, that's not the answer. Think about it. It wouldn't make sense to have two little sides like 8 and 15 and then a giant size like 289. No, that's the answer for the hypotenuse squared. To get the hypotenuse by itself, you must take the square root of 289. Now, on your calculator, the square root button is right above your square button. So in order to activate it, you're going to have to hit the second first. So I'll hit the second button, and then the square button, which activates the top part, the square root, and then I enter in the 289, and that gives me an answer of 17. So in this problem, the missing side, which is the hypotenuse, is 17. Let's try another one. Please, if you are not caught up, go ahead and pause the video until you are ready. For this next one, we're going to have another right triangle. In this case, I'm going to give you that the hypotenuse, remember across from the 90, is 32. This side is 18, and this side is missing. It doesn't matter whether you want to call that A or B or X or any variable. But these two squared must add up to be the hypotenuse squared. Notice on example 4, the numbers were side by side, so we added them. In this case, they are not. They're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So you must subtract the 18 squared. Notice I am not subtracting 18 from 32. I'm subtracting 18 squared from 32 squared. So when I enter that in the calculator, I will do 32 squared minus 18 squared. Should look like this on your calculator. I will hit enter and get my answer. It's the hypotenuse squared, 700. So to get the final answer, I must square root the 700. Again, don't forget to hit second on your calculator. It does say to round it to the nearest tenth. That's one decimal. In this case, recall the 5 we'll increase the 4 to a 5, so it's 26.5. Okay, let's do 2 more examples. Go ahead and take a minute to copy both example 6 and example 7 down, and then pause the video while you try to solve for the missing side. In this case, my right triangle is upside down. Across from the 90, the hypotenuse is 29. This missing side is 20, or the given side, and this is the missing side. On example 7, I'll draw one backwards. I won't be giving you the hypotenuse, but I will be giving you the sides. The legs are 3.7 and 7.5. Go ahead and pause the video while you try to solve for the missing sides in example 6 and example 7. All right, let's see how you did. The hypotenuse is 29, so it's going to equal 29 squared. This one's missing, and I have that one. Pick a variable. I happen to use x. Opposite sides, so you're going to subtract the 20 squared to both sides. Notice you are not doing subtraction squared. No, you're squaring and then doing the subtraction. Entering 29 squared minus 20 squared into your calculator gives you 441. Now you must square root that. And you get an answer of 21. Okay, moving on to the last example. In this case, you are missing the hypotenuse. You're missing the side opposite the 90. So that's your variable. You could use C, that's fine. Squaring these two, entering that into the calculator, you can see I got 69.94. Now I must take the square root of that. Rounding it to the nearest tenth. The 6 makes the 3 go up to a 4, so the answer is approximately 8.4. Review your notes and watch this video as many times as you need. When you're feeling confident, go ahead and print out the homework worksheet and work on that. Remember, if you don't have a printer, you may just do it on notebook paper. When you're finished, go ahead and play the next video, which will give you the answers so you can check them. This will be the only assignment this week, just while we're learning the whole online process. Next week, we'll have an assignment every day, though. Let me know if you have any problems. I'm working on a way for us to be able to FaceTime or do a Zoom conference so you can ask me questions. See you soon. I love you all, and I'm praying for you.